How can you spot a bad workplace at a job interview? So I'll open by asking this question for the comments below so that I can solicit some feedback, and I'll give some of my own opinions. What have you guys seen in the past where you've went on a job interview and said, this is really not somewhere that I want to work? I'll tell you, for me, I'm looking for a lot of catchphrases in the job interview. If you're talking to them and they say things like, this role wears many hats, what does that equate to and what does that mean? What that actually means is that you're going to have to do the job of 3 or 4 people. If they talk about people being very dedicated and doing whatever it takes to get the job done, they're talking about you working a lot of extra hours. If they say things like, we're like a family, I'm in HR and I even tell you to run the other way. No, this is an exchange for services for money. That's what work is. Now, people have got to be treated great, and the more employee appreciation, all that other stuff that you do, the better the business works. But this is not a family. This is an exchange of services for money. So when they say things like, we're like a family, it doesn't really make me feel great, because some families aren't very healthy. And if that's a standard that you want to put out at work, I don't think it's going to work very well for anybody. Now, other things that I have done, or I try to listen carefully when I ask questions and their responses to them, because it's very easy for them to come along and to go through their 10 questions that they've lined up that are, universal for this job to be filled in the interview. But when you ask questions, that's the time that you really need to listen. And don't be afraid to ask a lot of questions. Now, my favorite interview question, I always ask it very early when I'm the person that's interviewing, is what skills are really important for this person to be successful in this role? And then I'll tailor my answers back to the skills. It works great. But for you guys, if you're trying to get a sense of the culture, if you've done your research, if the Google reviews, the Glassdoor reviews, if you're looking to the company on LinkedIn, all the research that you do on a company before you take the job makes it look like, this is maybe something that I should avoid, then you've got to ask yourself some questions about whether you really want to work there. And a great question to ask employers when you get into this situation is like, tell me what it looks like if you look down the road in 6 months and you say, this person is really successful at this job. What does that look like? And if they make a lot of comments about how, in between different jobs the person does things, they're talking about you taking on a lot of different roles because they haven't hired enough people, or they maybe will keep enough people. So I'd like to know, what do you guys hear on a regular basis that on job interviews that makes you go, this is really not the place that I want to go? And if you get brave in a job interview, the harshest one that you can ask, but if you think you're maybe not going to take the job anyway, even if it's offered, is, why is this role available? The feedback that you get from that will give you a lot of insight. What are great ways that you guys know in job interviews that the job's not for you?